Hi, welcome. Today's practice is a short and sweet recovery practice. So this is going to be all lower body focused, really nice if you've been doing a lot of athletic endeavors that involve your lower extremities. So walking, running, hiking, cycling, weightlifting that's been wailing on you with squats and deadlifts and things like that. So any and all tired and depleted bodies are welcome here today. What I have is a foam roller, and you could use any foam roller. I have a shorter one, but a long standard size would work just as well for what we're going to do there. A yoga belt and a yoga block. And you can substitute other household items if you don't have those. For the block in particular, a stack of blankets or towels will work really nicely when we get to that portion. This is all going to be on the floor. So if you are depleted and fatigued in your lower body, don't worry. You don't have to stand up at all. Okay, we're going to start with 3 mobility patterns, just increasing circulation. Then we're going to get into foam rolling, and then we're going to finish out with a really nice extended stretch on our backs. So let's come to the mat. And you don't need any of your props to start, so you can take those out of the way. Starting in a kneeling position, bring your hands forward to support your transition here. As you curl your toes under, rock your weight back and come to a little squat. So you invite your heels to the ground, but there's no expectation that your heels will actually touch the floor. If that happens easily and naturally in your body, that's wonderful. Go for it. So have your feet flat. But for most of us, especially if there is some tension buildup in our Achilles, in our calves, in the tissues on the soles of our feet from making a lot of efforts with our lower body, it's entirely possible those heels will hover. Let's go back and forth a few times. So just rocking with your toes tucked under, forward and backward. And you can use your hands as much or as little as serves you well. Nothing today is terribly formal. We're really just loving on our body. So you can let it be fairly intuitive. Feel free here to go slower or more quickly. We're really just going to continue rocking for a few more moments. So allow yourself to interpret this any way you like. It is open to interpretation. Good, so hopefully beginning to feel right away some heat, some heat in your feet, and a nice bit of joint mobility in your toes. Good, we're going to come to the forward position. I call this toe sit, although it has many names. Toes are curled under, and then sit yourself up. And here, endeavor to join your heels together, so your inner ankles, inner heels are touching. And if I swivel just for a moment to show you that from the rear view, right? So the heels, ankles come together, which is putting some good pressure into your big toe joints. And this one can be quite intense, especially for those athletes out there in the audience. So be patient with yourself and feel free to stay here with your hands forward as support if sitting up fully just does not serve you well. You want everything you do today to serve you well. It's all about giving back to the body today. It doesn't mean there won't be sensations, and it doesn't mean there won't be certain levels of challenge, like here you're challenging your foot mobility. But it does mean that we have an attitude of nurturance where we really are just caring for ourselves, taking this time to replenish the body. Good, coming forward. And then flip your feet so you point and sit back. Counter position. If it's enough to be here, then just be here. This is great. If you would enjoy doing so, you're going to lean back. And here in the leaning back position, I'm still keeping my knees grounded, but to get more, I'm working on the ankles obviously, but to get more through the quadriceps, take a little adjust. So as you push your hands down, this is momentary, it goes very quickly, but a little adjustment is to lift your hips, squeeze your glutes and tuck your tailbone under, and then come back down. So we get some buttock flesh out of the way, and we put the pelvis into a bit of a different position. And what that does, you may have felt, is put more stretch into the front of the thigh. So we're increasing here our quadricep release. Let's take another moment. And then we're going to put these 3 positions together with a little rhythm. So as you come forward, curl your toes under and come to your toe sit. And then rock your way back towards a squat and let your heels drop as much as they are able. You can have your hands down or not, whatever you like, whatever is kind of like singing to you. Good, and come forward to the toe sit. The toe sit is our transitional position. And then point your feet and sit back and lean a little or a lot, as much as you like. And let's do that again. Forward through the toe sit, back into the squat, forward through the toe sit, and feet point as you lean back. Nice, so now on your own, just keep going. Use your hands as much as you like, or as little as you need. All we're looking to do here is to create some slide and glide of the tissues so that we're waking up, resetting all sorts of things, all kinds of joints, all kinds of muscles and tissues inside your feet and your ankles. Good, rather organically when I go back into my squat, I try to drop my heels, but to help counter that, I grab my mat. Not always, but sometimes, just to catch myself so I don't lose my balance. But again, we're going to go for about 30 more seconds. So this is just open to interpretation. Give yourself a little bit of time just to mobilize your feet and ankles here. Doing it in your own way, observing your own process. Good, and just because we don't get enough of this kind of thing, come back to your toe sit and pause. Again, you can have your hands forward for support, or you can sit yourself up tall. Take a moment just to breathe into it. So this was our first kind of rhythmic pattern. Hopefully already feeling better. Hopefully feeling better in, or at least more mobile, like there's some good lubrication in your feet and ankles. The next is a little bit more focused on the hips, or it is more focused on the hips. One more breath here. And then, just in case there's any kind of cramping going on, point your feet and sit back and enjoy that counterpoint. And from here, you can just cross your ankles, roll over your feet and sit. Take your legs out front of you, give them a little shake out. Coming into box pose, bring your right shin in front of your left shin and cross mid-shin, mid-calf. So the legs are fairly narrow towards each other, not too wide, so we're not crossing at the ankles, we're really crossing at the shins. And then you can flex your feet a little bit, put some tone into your ankles and your feet. With your hands behind you, press your fingers down, lift your chest up, and get a little taller on the front of your spine. So a little longer through your belly and a little more lifted through your chest. And then lean from your hip creases, lean forward on a diagonal. So you try to lean with length on the front of your body. Good, and then come back up and switch. You can lean back to switch the cross of your legs, reset box on side 2, and then lean with length. Good, rock back and switch. We're just going to do a few of these. And lean forward. Rock back and switch. And lean forward. Good, so continuing, now that you know what we're doing, you can just continue on your own, changing sides each time. So we alternate and exchange that box shape. And you don't obviously have to lean too far. You are 100% in charge of how far you lean. Just trying to get a nice little bit of circulation into those outer hips. You might find after a few moments with this, as we've had here, that you go a little further just naturally as things start to melt a bit of their tension off. You might be able to lean a little further forward into it. But again, we're not after like big flexibility work today. This isn't that kind of practice. This really is just a recovery practice. So don't worry at all about how big it is, how deep you go, how limber you feel or don't feel. None of that is really our concern today. We're really just trying to give some nice attention to our tissues and give back to them from all that they've given to us recently. Okay, so the next time your right is in front, that was what we started with. Take your hands forward, keep leaning with a nice long spine and a bunch of length on the front of your body. And let the length on the front of the body exude through the arms and through the fingers, right? So you're pulling some length into the sides of your waist, into your rib cage, into your lower back, with the levers of your arms. Take a moment there. And if you're already at a stage where you feel a lot of big stretch in your hips, then you can simply stay as you are and enjoy a few deep breaths right here. But if you have a little further to go, you could keep lengthening. Walk your hands even further forward. And then if you get to a point where your chest is on your legs, it might make sense to lower your head. Again, this is not in any way necessary. It's not for everyone. So you're working where you're working. And now from wherever you are, rise up slowly. No need to come up too quickly out of that one. Lean back, shake your legs out straight for a moment. So let's actually keep the legs straight before we hold on side 2. Bring your hands back behind you. Lift your chest up so you sit fairly tall through your spine. Have a little distance between your legs and your feet, and then just circle out your ankles. And let's begin by circling in opposite directions. Just a nice big swirl through those ankle joints. Good, and then reverse and circle the opposite way and make it as big as you possibly can. So you're getting a fairly full range of motion here. Good, and then pause that, walk your legs and feet all the way together. And now moving your feet together in unison, draw a circle one way. And just naturally, you'll be flexing and extending your ankles as you make circles. Good. Reverse, other direction. And letting your hands and arms support your spine, the lift of your spine here, so you can focus on what your ankles are doing. Good. One more. And then take your legs apart again and just do a little swivel shake out. And we'll come to second side for box. So left leg in front, crossing mid-shin or mid-calf. Take your hands behind to start. Wiggle your hips back so you can lengthen your spine, lengthen your rib cage and chest forward. And then walk your hands out front. And you could be at any degree of lean, whatever makes sense for your body today. And as we said on side one, the arms are helping to pull length into your spine. So continue to reach with your hands and your arms. At any stage here, if it feels good to do so, you can release your head. And then from wherever you are, slowly rise up. Take your legs forward and just give them a casual shake. We'll come into windshield wipers, so working a bit more the rotational qualities in the hips, building off of what we just did. So hands come behind your back, knees are bent and feet are grounded. And then there's space between your knees and your feet so that as you swivel side to side, like a windshield wiper, your inside leg has room to dip down. And there's going to be global rotation. So this is in no way exclusive to the hip. There's some tilting in the pelvis and hiking of the hip. There's some spinal rotation. There's total body swivel happening here. But I'd like you to focus on what you're feeling inside your hip sockets as you swivel your thigh bones inward and outward. Again, we did some rotation work in the previous box exchange, but this one is a little bit different. So it's building off of what you've already done. All right, let's let the knees go to the right. Next time they're there. Pause, and your left hip, your left bum is off the floor, so you're staggered. That's totally fine. And then for a twist, bring your left hand to your right knee, bring your right hand around behind you, and sit up nice and tall, and just give some rotation to your shoulders, chest, and ribs. Good, and release. Come through center, second side, switch your legs. So here your right hip is up. It's a very asymmetrical shape. And bring your right hand onto your left knee, your left hand behind you. And so with your left hand supporting the lift of your chest and the length of your spine, you'll feel probably a pretty good side stretch. You can really press the floor down, lift your chest up, and invite that side of your abdomen, waist, and low back to really lengthen out. Here it's the left side as we twist to the left. Good, and release. Let's go windshield wiper again, just to shake it out. So go side to side a few times. And breathe. Great time to breathe. Isn't it always? Okay, take both legs forward in front of you and give a little shake, shake. So hopefully with some of this dynamic mobility, a little bit of stretching work, you're feeling already some increase in circulation. Now we're going to foam roll. Getting your roller, we'll start with our calves. We're going to do calves, glutes, and quads today. So let's go down towards the Achilles, right? So you're way at the end of your leg. And cross your opposite leg on top, lean back on your hands. And then the leg that we're focusing on, the calf that we're focusing on, is obviously the underside leg. The top leg is just adding some weight and some pressure. And we're going to flex and extend. That's all. So you're just pinning your tissues against that roller and mobilizing them. Good. And then add a couple more inches. So your body moves forward and the roller is moving closer to your knee. And then same thing, point and flex. Good, let's go again. We're doing about maybe 4 increments here. So you go up a few inches, point and flex. So just pinning down those tissues with that top leg, breathing, and then mobilizing. Good, go again. So the roller is gradually moving higher. And this is going to be our last spot. So you want to make sure you're grabbing some really good meat of your calves with this one. It's not particularly constructive to go close, super close to the knee. So we're going to stay away from that. Good. Now rotate, so we're going to stay on that same kind of nice meaty spot towards the top third of your calf. And just roll your leg in and out. So we're not rolling up and down per se, we're just going side to side with this. And then find a spot, I'm sure there is one, you probably don't have to look too hard. Find a spot that's like particularly intense and just hold there. Option, 2 options. Well, how about 3 options? First is to do nothing else and just be here and breathe if it's a lot. Option 2, that's always a good option. Option 2, pressurize with your opposite leg or foot and you push, you add weight and you add pressure. Third thing that you could do here is bend and extend your knee a few times. So you're on more or less the same spot for your calf, but you're bending and extending your knee. Good. And then go down. We're not doing 4 increments, we'll go down 1 increment, grab some more meat, so to speak, more calf meat, and toggle, so do that side to side. And because we've placed the roller in a slightly different spot, you're going to be getting new sensations because it's a new spot, new tissues. And then find a spot and 3 options. Hold, pressurize, or bend and extend your knee. Good. And then just a few times, this is pretty light, so not a lot of density pushing down, right? Just do a really light roll up and down, turn your leg in and out. This is just increasing blood flow. So we're not doing anything too specific here. Keep it light and casual and done. Okay, take the roller to the side. Take both legs forward, give them a little shaky shimmy. Whew, and then pause for a moment and really feel those 2 sides. Feel the difference between those 2 sides. And we'll go side 2. So calf comes underneath Achilles, cross on top, and point and flex, bottom foot. This is where we're going to move up the leg towards the knee in 4 increments. So slide your body down, find a new spot, and point and flex. Good, we'll do that again. So you're getting higher on the calf here. And just starting to feel that increase in slide and glide of the tissue, the layers of tissues passing one another. And one more time, so good meat towards the, again, like the top third of your calf, but we're not behind the knee. Again, it's not very useful to go there. Point and flex. Good. Now we're going to stay at this high spot. You can release your opposite leg off and just roll in and out. So I'm rotating mostly from my hip, kind of like we did in the windshield wipers, right? It's a nice prep for that. So we're just rotating the whole leg over that one spot, and then find a tender bit and hold. And either just stay here, breathe, add extra weight with your opposite foot or your opposite leg. Good, or you can bend and extend your knee. Sometimes it's hard to choose which one because they're all so good. But choose one. Woo. Okay, now move the roller down just an inch or 2 so you grab some more serious calf meat. So we're not on the Achilles tendon for this piece. And then same thing, just toggle side to side, rolling cross fiber massage here. Find a spot you want to work with, pause, and same 3 options. Stay here, add weight here, or bend and extend your knee a little bit. A little meaning the knee doesn't have to fully go through a range of motion. It's tiny, just so you add a little palpation, a little rhythmic palpation here. Okay, and then really soft, so again, we're not pushing much with the leg, keeping the leg fairly light. Just do a real quick up and down roll, and I'm rolling my leg in and out, so I'm hitting up all different angles of the calves, just increasing overall circulation. Good, and done with that. Take a moment, shake out your legs, sit, and just feel that rush of rejuvenation. Okay, we're back onto the first leg, onto the first side. I started with my left calf, so I'm going to start with my left glute as well. Sit up onto your roller, and then again, use your hands, lean back. Take your left leg into a figure 4 stretch, and then tilt your pelvis so your right hip is now in the air, and it's just your left bum that's on that roller. And then without moving the roller, move your body and rock a little side to side. You want to try to find a decently tender spot in your glute, and then just rock on that spot for a moment. Okay, now find the tenderness, the tenderest of that tenderness. So go really like to the sweet spot, and then hold. And just breathe a moment there, just a few seconds. Good. And then a little bit of stripping, so to speak. Roll up and down. And then feel free to rotate your body a little bit as you move the roller underneath you, and you're kind of searching. You're just looking around for tender spots. Again, find one of the tenderest of those tender spots. Hold. Just let your body weight kind of press down into it. Good. And then coming off the roll, shake out your legs. Ooh, feel that, appreciate that. You've done good work there. Second side, sitting on the roll. This time, as you lean back on your hands, take your right leg into figure four, tip your weight, tip your pelvis. So your left hip is in the air and it's the right side that's on that roller. And then without moving the roller beneath you, rock your body side to side a few times. Okay, and then find a tender spot and hold. Just give it a few moments, put your weight into it. Okay, and now let the roller move underneath you as you strip the muscle, so to speak, rolling up and down your buttocks. And you can shift your weight a little bit as you go up and down. Let it be intuitive. You're just seeking out tender spots, giving them a little bit of pressure. Good, find a spot you'd like to focus on, hold. Just stay with that. Good, and then release, come off the roller. Shake out your legs. One more. So flip yourself around, come onto your belly, and we're going to work with our quads. So as you flip around and come onto your belly to work with your quads, let's start again on the left side. Take the roller pretty high up to begin. We'll start high towards the hip. I often just bend my opposite knee. You'll see that on the other side. But you can do whatever feels good to you with your opposite leg. Okay? And then here, as we're going to go in 3 increments from the hip towards the knee. Support on your elbows and bend and extend your knee. So again, we don't move the roller. We're keeping the roller pinned and we're moving our body. Good. And then we're going to reset. So you can crawl forward so that the roller moves closer to your knee, right? Same thing. Find a good spot there and then bend and extend. And if you find a really tender spot, you might not bend your knee as deeply. So the knee range of motion can adjust based on the sensational feedback that you're receiving. It doesn't always have to be a big bend. Just let it be whatever works for your body right now. Good, and then one more time. So we're closer to the knee, but we're not at the knee. This is the closest that we're going to get, but you're still totally on tender tissue of the quadriceps muscle, and we're not at the joint. If it's too much to bend and extend here, don't do it. Just enjoy the pressure. But if you feel good to try it, you can bend and extend a little or a lot. You can go quickly, you can go slowly. It's really up to you how you want to work with your body right now. Again, we're just promoting slide and glide of these layers of muscle tissue and fascial tissue across one another. Good, and now I'd like you to find a spot, go back if you need to go back, but find a spot that's particularly sensitive and just hold. We'll call that's the sweet spot, right? And just hold. Let your weight be release as much of your weight into it as you feel good about. We'll say it that way. Sometimes you need to hold back because it's just really intense. and that's fine. Okay, come on off of that, and just move the roller to the side, come to your belly, still propped up on your elbows, but let your legs come fully to the ground. So we're in yoga what we would call a sphinx pose with shoulders, with elbows under shoulders, excuse me. So your belly can lengthen, the fronts of your hips can lengthen. And I'd really like you to just feel here the one side that we've foam rolled, right? And it should feel different than your second side. They should feel different from each other. Okay, we'll balance that out now. So set yourself up for side 2. Again, do whatever works for you for your spare leg. I usually just hitch that knee up and out to the side. We're going in 3 increments, starting higher up. So find some good muscle meat at the top of your quadricep. And then bend and extend your knee. As we said on side 1, if it's really tender, this is rough. And I don't want you to feel that you are that you're harshing on yourself with this recovery practice. That is not the objective today. So if it feels too much to bend and extend the knee, don't do it, and just stay with consistent pressure. Just keep your legs straight and breathe there. It is all good. All right, let's move the roller down. So you move your body forward. The roller is at its second spot, like mid-thigh, but probably still higher to mid. And if it's too much to bend and extend, just stay here. If you feel good about bending and extending, go ahead and do that. I find like I'm on the edge that I can bend and extend, but it's really sensitive on this side for me today. It usually is. This is my bad side. I've had a lot of issues with this knee and with this hip, so it doesn't surprise me that I need to move really slowly. And sometimes I don't bend the knee at all. As I mentioned, I just keep my legs straight and I don't bother because it's just too much. It depends on the day. All right, let's go 1 increment, a little lower. So again, probably mid-quad. You might be getting towards your knee, but you want to stay where there's a lot of strong sensation because that's where you need the work, right? So if going too close to the joint takes you out of sensation, then please find a spot where you have a lot of sensation. Either simply hold and breathe or bend and extend at your own pace and in your own way. And breathe. Good. Now I'd like you to find a spot that is particularly sensitive and just put pressure on it. Just hold, drop the weight of your leg as much as you feel good about. Nice. And then carefully release. You can take your foam roller to the side as you come onto your belly. Prop up on your elbows into Sphinx pose and lengthen the front of your body. A nice, steady, even breath here. And if nothing else, I hope at least you feel a better state of internal balance in terms of the sensation you're sensing in your 2 legs after doing both sides. Things should feel a little bit more equal. You may even feel a release in your lower back. That's a really nice effect of relaxing tension on the front of your body, is that it frees up the back of your body. So your low back may even feel more comfortable here in Sphinx pose than it did a moment ago. Good, let's let ourselves lower down. So just rest your head in any fashion, whatever feels good to you. Bend your knees and do a gentle windshield wiper action here. We saw this seated, but it's also really nice to do on your belly. Let your pelvis tip side to side, rocking your hips and your legs and your feet all together. Nice and casual. Last time each side. And then release the legs back down to the ground. Bring your hands by the sides of your chest. And we'll press up to hands and knees like a tabletop position. And then take that right back into child's pose. So sliding your hips back, maybe walking your hands back. Stretch your arms forward. Let your forehead come down to the ground. And breathe here. Okay, nice and easy as you rise up. Again, you can cross your ankles behind you, roll over your feet. This time as you come to sit, roll down onto your back. And you may like now to have your yoga belt or your towel, whatever you're using, handy, and hug your knees in as you come onto the ground. You can hug with your hands or loop with your elbows, whatever you prefer. It's very similar to child pose, very similar dynamic here with the legs and the spine. So just feeling your knees come towards your shoulders, feeling your back softly round and press into the floor. Take both hands to your right knee. Extend your left leg straight and pause to breathe here. Bring awareness back into your ankle. Circle out your right ankle a few times. And circle the opposite way. Good, and then we're going to continue working with this right side. But first bend your left knee and plant your foot. And now take your hands and interlace them behind your right thigh, so holding to the hamstrings. Bend your knee a bunch so that you sandwich your hands between your calves and your hamstrings. And then draw your thigh towards your chest. And keeping your thigh pretty close to your chest, extend your right knee and bend it. And as we put the ankle motion into it, point as you extend your knee. And flex your ankle as you bend your knee. Point and extend, flex and bend. And you only need to extend to a point where you start to feel the restriction of your hamstring tension. You don't need to push into that sensation. You don't need to push past it. Just go right up to that initial boundary and then release. So we're just like dipping our toe into the lake and then retreating. No need to do too much here. Last time to extend your leg, pause and release. Switch sides. Start by hugging your left knee to your chest and take your right leg out, extended long. And putting awareness into your left foot and ankle, make some circles. And circle the opposite way. And then you can let your foot find stillness. Rebend your long leg, so the right leg bends, foot lands. Replace your hands behind your left thigh and then bend your knee deeply. So again, you squeeze your hands like they're in a vice between your hamstrings and your calves, and draw your thigh close to your chest, your knee close to your shoulder, keeping that much like child pose, right, where you've got thigh to chest. Extend and bend your knee joint, and as you do, you can put some ankle movement into it as well. So you point your foot as you extend your leg, and you flex as you bend. Point to extend and flex to bend. And you can move now at your own pace, just continuing to work with this. Again, just bumping up against the point of resistance there in your hamstrings, and then letting go right away. We're not being aggressive or assertive or ambitious with this hamstring work today. Soft and sweet. That's our motto with this practice. Soft and sweet. Okay, go ahead, release. Take your legs both long onto the ground like Shavasana. And you can have your hands just rest on your body, on your belly or on your chest, or out to the side if you like that. And we're just pausing for a moment before we move on. So feeling how the extra nourishment here into your joints and tissues is beginning to add up. It's really starting to make a difference, hopefully, in how you're feeling inside your body. You just want to momentarily acknowledge that, acknowledge the work that you're doing, and then rebend both knees, hug both knees in. Rock a few times. Let's come to happy baby's pose. So soles of feet face the ceiling. Legs wide enough apart that your upper body, your torso, can actually insert inside your legs, and your legs frame your upper body. And then breathe here. And if it feels nice to rock, you can rock a few times. If rocking doesn't really do anything for you, it is absolutely optional. So you don't have to do that. You can just stay center. All right, let's release both feet to the ground, knees are bent. And then take your towel or your belt or your dog leash, whatever you're using. Open that up. And we're going to take the right leg up into the air, lasso over the sole of your right foot. And as you hold on, here's the two things that we would like to work with. You want your hands as close to your foot as possible, so your arms are pretty straight, but you also want the rear of your shoulders, the like bony line across the shoulder, which is your shoulder blade, you want that to rest on the ground. So keep your upper back grounded as your arms are straight, as your hands are close to your feet, and then press your leg straight. Good. Option to extend your spare leg, your opposite leg, your left leg. If you would prefer to keep it bent, please keep it bent. The pose is super effective either way. Good. And just breathing here another moment. This is a really good one to do on a consistent basis. Again, especially if you happen to be quite active. The hamstrings, they really take a lot of our effort. And we can feel that effort accumulate inside of those hamstrings. And so here it's just a way to replenish and release, bringing those poor, overused tissues back to a healthy resting length. Last breath. So left leg is going to bend. This is half happy baby. You can use the belt, taking both ends of the belt in your right hand as you bend your right knee into half happy baby. Or if you feel that you don't need the belt anymore, you can use your hand, your right hand, to your foot. For right now, you can let your left bum be a little bit off the floor, so your pelvis is tipping, your body is tipping a little bit, and your right thigh and knee come down towards or to the ground outside your right rib cage. Option here, if you have a yoga block, you could use, also if you have your blankets, you could use them to go underneath your left thigh and straighten your left leg. And you can stack the blankets or roll up the blankets higher or tip your block higher if that's better for you. Just find a spot where it feels decently supportive. If you have the mobility in your hips to do this without the prop, of course you can have your leg flat on the ground, or you may not be to that point with it, but you want to work towards that, right? And so you can do it without the support. That's an option as well. So you've got a lot of options here. Let's take another moment or two breathing into it. Good, and then your straight leg is going to rebend again, land the sole of the foot, release your right leg, take it up into the air for a moment, and then as you flex your ankle, cross the ankle above your left knee. We did figure 4 on the foam roller earlier. We're going to do it here, reclined. Hug your legs towards your chest. You can hold behind your thigh, or you can go over top of your shin, whatever you prefer. It's getting a nice outer hip stretch for the right side here. And really all 3 of the poses in this series, so the straight leg hamstring stretch, the bent knee, half happy baby, and here the figure 4 are such essential lower body maintenance protocol for me, are such an essential lower body protocol. So for all the things that I enjoy doing that utilize a lot of endurance and stamina and strength and explosive power from my legs and from my lower body, these 3 really help me to keep everything in good working condition. So maintaining the mobility and the alertness, the aliveness, the awakeness in all of these tissues. Good. Let's let this side release and come into that resting shape again, that shavasana. Whew, and just really let yourself melt away. Good. Take another moment breathing and appreciating what you've done on that right side. We'll repeat everything, of course, on the left. Good. You can give that a little shake out, a little toggle, and then as we reset, you can hug your left knee into your chest, and then find the belt, and let's take the belt over the foot. We'll go right into this. As you extend your left leg into the air, check in. Hands are close to foot, as close as can be, with arms pretty straight, and then shoulders drop down to the ground. Either stay with your right side bent, or you can extend. Your choice there. And just breathing into it. Couple more moments. And we just allow for a little bit of dissolution, right? You allow the hamstring tension to dissolve with time and breath. Okay. And then as we prepare to go into the bent knee, half happy baby position, you can rebend your right leg. Choose if you'd like to work with or without the belt as you bend into your knee. And you could also switch your blankets or your block over to your right side as soon as you're ready. I do usually take a couple moments with my right leg bent, just encouraging my left thigh to move closer to the ground. And once I've had a few moments here, then I support underneath my right thigh and let the leg drape. And sometimes it's really nice to stay with that support from beneath, whether it's rolled blankets or towels or yoga block. And other times it's nice to work a deeper stretch. So if supporting the leg is taking some of the sensation out of it and that's not satisfying for you today, then don't use it. And try to iron your leg flat to the floor. Just breathing all the while. Good, we'll stay just another moment here. Okay. Rebend your bottom leg. You can take your prop away if you were using it. Let your left leg extend just for a second to reset, and then we'll come to figure four. Coming into your hip stretch. So with these practices, as I indicated on our first side when we were taking this figure four pose, the more I can communicate with these tissues in a very mindful way, the more I'm able to talk to my feet and talk to my ankles, my calves, my hips, the better I am in all of my movement endeavors. So it really benefits me to have open lines of communication between my mind and my body, to have that mind-body connection. It makes everything else so much better, so much more efficient and effective. Just makes me a better mover overall. And who doesn't want that? I think that's why we're all here, is to be the best movers that we can possibly be. All right, let's let this release. Again, come into that Shavasana, like yoga resting pose, where you just sprawl and relax. Close your eyes. And we have just a few final finishing things. Bend into both knees. And this is supported with either your yoga block or your stack of blankets. Lift your hips. We usually call this bridge in yoga. And place the block underneath the back of your pelvis. So essentially you sit on it. You want to check in with the placement and be sure it's not on your spine. So there's no there's no piece of your spine that's touching. It's just your hips that are on the block. And arms by your side. A little bit of elevated support. Second, elevation is an option for you. So feel free to stack up more blankets or to tip your block higher if this would feel good to you. You know, and as with all things, it doesn't suit everybody, and some days are going to be different than other days. So choose based on just how you're feeling about it today. And one more option that I will offer to you is to extend your legs, and the same recommendation will apply that you definitely want to check in with how your body's responding. And if it feels tweaky or pinchy in your lower back, it's not for you today. So go back to the bent knees, stay with the bent knee bridge. But if you like it, it's a nice way to passively open up the fronts of your hips. Again, if you like it. And you could do this at any level. And just breathe here. Let your body gently arc over whatever prop you're using. In these supported style poses, we could certainly stay much longer. There are styles of yoga where you would spend minutes in supported poses. But for today, let's come slowly out of this one. So if you extended your legs, rebend your knees and return to a bridge. And if you've been in bridge this whole time, just another breath there. And then you want to put a little bit of intelligence into your feet and your legs. So you give some tone to the muscles in your hips, legs, lower body. And then lift your hips to slide the prop out. And ease yourself down. Pause here. Take a breath. Knees are still bent, feet are still flat. Good, and then hug your knees into your chest. We'll keep the knees bent. We're moving towards a spinal twist, but to adjust your body, bring your feet to the ground, swing your hips an inch or 2 inches behind you to the right, and then roll your knees to the left. And take your right arm straight out onto the ground. Your left hand can hold your knees. And just a nice, simple, sweet little spinal twist here. Good, and then guide yourself through the center again with your feet on the ground. Do a little side step, swing your hips to the left, roll your knees to the right, and stack your legs. And then nice and gently, here we're at the end. Let's roll back to center. You can just reset yourself to the middle. Hug your knees in. And if you'd like to take a final happy baby pose, it's a great time for that. Otherwise, you can just stay here with knees to chest. Good, and then extend your legs out. Take a moment in stillness here. Same options for the hands and arms as before, so you can touch your belly or your chest or let your arms open on the ground. And close your eyes. Fully appreciate how much support the floor is offering you. just like your footprint would make an imprint in soft sand, can you let your whole body make an imprint in your floor or on the ground, whatever surface is beneath you? Take another moment and allow the entirety of your physical being, your whole body, every single cell, every bone, every muscle, every part of you to descend with gravity. Just really let gravity ground you. If you find that you drift into a really relaxed, almost spacey, dozy state, and you have the opportunity to linger there, please do that. It's a great state. It means the nervous system has shifted gears, and so you have down-regulated yourself to the point where you can really, truly rest, relax, replenish, and repair. And it's in this state that the body can fully recover itself from all your strenuous efforts. So again, it's such a valuable space to stay in. But if you do not have more time to give, and this is the time that you have, then I invite you now to hug your knees to your chest, make your way very gradually up off the floor. And I will say goodbye to you here. If you're still on your back and you're lingering in that nice soft space, please stay as long as you care to. Stay as long as you're able and as long as you have the inclination, and enjoy moving into the rest of your day with hopefully a very refreshed and replenished lower body. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I feel better, and I hope you'll feel better as well. I will see you next time. So long. Oh, jeez. I already had to start over once. Okay, come on in. That's okay, I can cut it. Cut and paste. I just have to remember where we were.